All right, let's dive right into this explainer, where we're going to uncover how to finally, and I mean finally, conquer conversational English. We're drawing all of this directly from a really fantastic 40-minute real-life listening practice session. So if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by language learning, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to break down the exact strategies that make learning feel way less like a tedious chore and way more like just a natural, easy part of your day.
You know, this quote perfectly captures the struggles so many learners face. They feel totally stuck despite years of memorizing grammar lists and taking endless tests. It is incredibly common to know all the rules on paper, but then totally freeze up when it's time to actually speak. Seriously, you are not alone if you spent a decade in classrooms only to feel a massive wave of anxiety the absolute second a native speaker asks you a question.
Well, the secret solution here is shockingly simple. You just let your brain absorb natural conversation about everyday things. That's how you build genuine confidence. There are no high-pressure exams here, zero endless grammar drills. By just sitting back with a cup of tea or a glass of water and listening to regular people talk about normal, real-life topics, your brain just naturally learns the language. It's really all about giving yourself the space to just listen.
So, here's our game plan for today. 1. Work and daily routines. 2. Dining out and travel. 3. Tech, health, and home. And 4. Mastering everyday expressions.
All right, Section 1, Work and Daily Routines. Let's start with the stuff we all do every single day.
Think about how a typical morning sequence unfolds. You wake up at 7, and you desperately drink that coffee, because let's be real, for most of us that is not optional, it is strictly required. Then you take a shower, get dressed, and maybe eat some breakfast, like toast or oatmeal. Whether your alarm goes off at 6 a.m. for some peaceful stretching or a bit later at 7, the sequence usually looks a lot like this. Having these specific, step-by-step phrases ready to go in your head makes answering a question like, "So, what do you do in the morning?" just completely effortless.
Now, transitioning over to work life, do you like your job? It's a loaded question, right? But it instantly prompts such useful vocabulary. Whether you absolutely love helping people or you completely dread sitting in a 2-hour meeting with your colleagues, nobody loves every single moment of their job 100% of the time. But being able to express what you do like, say, learning something new every day, or venting about those endless meetings where you just want to go home, that instantly connects you to whoever you're talking to.
Okay, now you absolutely do not want to mix these up in a professional setting. We're talking about high-stakes career verbs here. They both mean leaving a job, sure, but the context? Completely opposite. To resign means the power is in your hands. You're making the choice to leave. Being fired? That means the boss or manager tells you that you must leave. That is a very important distinction to master, for sure.
Moving right along to Section 2, Dining Out and Travel. This is where language gets incredibly fun and really opens doors to new experiences.
Picture this. You're sitting down at this amazing Italian or Japanese restaurant, and the waiter approaches your table and says this exact polite phrase, "Can I take your order?" Knowing exactly what this trigger phrase means takes all the panic out of the situation. You don't need to translate it in your head word for word. You just instantly know it's your turn to speak.
And when you do speak, instead of just bluntly demanding, "Give me the pasta," using phrases like, "I'd like," or "I'll have," is the natural, polite way to order in English. It might seem like a tiny detail, but honestly, in English, politeness goes a very, very long way. Softening your request with, "I'd like the tomato soup," or "Could I have a glass of water," completely transforms you from sounding like a demanding tourist to a fluent, respectful speaker.
Now, if you are planning that absolute dream trip to Japan or Morocco, having a solid itinerary is just as crucial as knowing your travel vocab. An itinerary outlines exactly what you're going to be doing each day, whether you're exploring the incredibly vibrant, colorful souks of Morocco, or you're just taking in the clean streets and beautiful nature in Tokyo and Kyoto.
You really want to keep these vital nouns categorized together in your mind, like a travel toolkit, so you're always prepared to talk about international trips without skipping a beat. You need your passport, sometimes a visa to get in, your luggage, which, let's face it, is always too heavy, accommodation for a place to sleep, and your itinerary to guide the whole adventure. Master these, and the world is literally open to you.
All right, Section 3, Tech, Health, and Home. We're shifting gears to the stuff that totally dominates our modern day-to-day lives.
I mean, considering we spend, 4 to 5 hours a day scrolling through apps on our devices, to charge is a phrase you are going to use constantly. It's wild to think that just 20 years ago, people were relying on paper maps and payphones. Today, our phones are our maps, our cameras, and our computers all rolled into one.
Because we use them nonstop, saying, "My phone is dead, I need to charge it," is an incredibly common, slightly dramatic part of everyday English.
8. That is the magic number of water glasses doctors are always recommending we drink daily to stay fit. And of course, there's the encouraging reminder that even just 10 minutes of exercise is way better than nothing. Health is a massive, everyday conversation topic. Whether you're talking about staying fit, managing your stress from work, or just trying to find the energy to walk on a treadmill for a few minutes, having this specific vocabulary lets you dive into really meaningful personal conversations.
And then there's the weather and the home. In English, talking about the weather's practically an Olympic sport, especially in places where it's constantly flipping from foggy to hot to humid. Combine those forecast words with chatting about buying new furniture or complaining to a neighbor about your expensive rent or having to call the landlord, and you basically have the ultimate recipe for perfect neighborhood small talk.
And finally, Section 4, Mastering Everyday Expressions. This is the climax. These are the connective phrases that actually make you sound like a completely natural speaker.
What is really fascinating here is how these tiny little phrases do all the heavy lifting to keep a conversation flowing smoothly. They're basically conversational glue. If someone asks you a really complicated question, you don't have to freeze up. You just buy yourself a second by saying, "Well, it depends." You use "actually" to gently correct someone or drop a surprising fact. And by the way, that is literally the best tool for smoothly changing the subject when you suddenly remember something exciting you want to share. Here's a huge tip. Native speakers rarely just say a blunt, "You're wrong." That's way too aggressive. Instead, they soften disagreements politely with this exact phrase. "I see your point, but..." Culturally, it's super important in English not to just shut someone down. By using this phrase, you're showing that you're listening, you respect their idea, but you're about to present an opposing view. It's polite, it's incredibly professional, and it just works.
So, I want you to think about this ultimate question in English right now, just to prove to yourself how much your listening skills have already grown during this explainer. Whether it's your health, your job, your daily habits, or just continuing to master this language, simply engaging with real conversations like this will naturally push you forward. So, what is the one area of your life you're going to focus your new confidence on today? Keep listening, keep practicing, and you will absolutely get there.